on two out the back if it had gone to Harry Smith. So Wigan were getting chances though, and didn't. I thought at this stage we're kind of like up to 70 minutes now. There was the O'Neill high tackle on McGilvery, kind of gave the Giants a bit of a breather and settled things down for a couple of minutes. For the last 10 minutes, really. But I felt at this stage that only one team was going to score if another try was being scored, and that was Wigan. Because all Huddersfield were doing was trying to keep Wigan penned back, handing it over on their terms, but they only had a 2-point lead. And like we've talked about, Wigan have got a lot of talent. So the first play in the last 10 minutes to talk about, guys, was Wigan threw some long balls in their own 10. Leroy Kudrow actually knocked it down before it got out to Liam Marshall, and then I think Marshall knocked on two, but Jayfield picked it up, made 50 metres down the field. Lola here got him into touch, but there was still a scramble for the pass on the inside anyway. That saw Cade Cuss dislocate his elbow or break his arm, one or the other, but it looked fucking horrible. And play still wasn't called time off until the doctor came on that time. Now, the doctor hadn't come on at any of the other times when play was called time off, so why did he have to wait to the doctor this time? I'm not quite sure. But again, it's not having to go at the referee, because like I say, he was trying to make it play, but it just felt like from a Wigan perspective it was going against us. That's my bias, not the referees, don't get me wrong. But yeah, what did we all make of that period of play that meant Luluai had to come back on in the halves unexpectedly? Alan, I'll go to you first.
It's a difficult one to kind of think about. I'm just trying to think back on it in terms of Cust getting injured. It felt a bit harem scarum kind of both ways, although at the same time I didn't really have much faith in Huddersfield in scoring, to be frank with you. It felt like they'd been very limited in what they were trying to do. But actually, having Luluai to come on isn't exactly a bad thing, is it? And you mentioned it through the thing. I mean, I think Cust had a bad game, you would say, on balance. Quite a lot of errors.
Yeah, poor game relatively, I'd say, to his.
Yeah, so sure. I wouldn't. You weren't missing him in the way that Huddersfield missed Hill, for example. I would say.
Cust and Cogger were both outshone by the young English halfbacks on either side, weren't they, David?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going back to the point about the field break, I'm with you on that one, Mark. I think that Wigan knocked on. I was, as much as you wanting Jayfield to recreate that Salford moment and peg it up the field and score, part of me was going, get tackle, because if this goes to the video ref, Huddersfield are going to get the ball 10 metres from our line. So I'm definitely with you on that one. And when you mentioned McQueen earlier, I think McQueen had some involvement in that tackle on field. I don't know whether he helped sort of slow him down, but I'm pretty sure that McQueen made an impact in that play as well that stopped him getting free.
He was sort of ankle tapped but didn't get stopped, didn't he, right down the touchline? Yeah. That might have been McQueen who made that tackle. And he got another 20 metres or so, but Lola here had the ability to come across and tackle him, and it was a great tackle by Lola here. We talked about his lack of confidence on the goal kicks, but in that, he's been terrible one-on-one defensively this year, let's be fair, but in that moment he was outstanding.
Yeah, he was. I think he had a good game overall. I think, aside from the kicking, and I just think Cust getting injured, Tommy was gassed when he came back on. Tommy was absolutely gassed because he'd not played for 6 weeks, probably not done any contact training for, or maybe if he had done some, maybe only in a couple of sessions in the week. He'd only
been on the training field for 3 days, I think, before the game, yeah.
Exactly. And they're not going to be going in hard on him, are they? Cup final week, knowing that he's probably part of the match day squad. But Cust, I mean, it was a nasty one. They've not really said much about it. They've not really sort of commented and said much about Cust, but I saw him at the homecoming, which we'll speak about later. But I think it's just really, really badly bruised or strained in his forearm. It kind of had the full weight of one of the Huddersfield players. When his arm was sort of on the floor as he was trying to scoop the ball up, one of the Huddersfield players literally landed with 15, 16 stones of weight on his arm and put him, and it might have been a pull.
I've heard dislocate. I've heard some people saying that he's told them at the homecoming that it was a dislocated elbow.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah, so I don't think it's as can't be as bad as it looked anyway. But yeah, again with the stoppages, Cuss down, and it took an age to Professor Chris Brooks to come on, but
And
again,
John
at that
Bateman
point,
waving him off, telling him to get off quicker.
oh yeah, absolutely raging, wasn't he, John? Like just both of them, him and the waterman. It was funny to see that. But again, with Bateman, that passion that's come back to him now, and I don't think there's any secret in the fact that Sean Wayne's back in the fold, albeit in a senior directorship role. When Sean Wayne was here first time, John Bateman had run through a brick wall for him, and I don't think I think that can, that's a contributing factor to his turnaround in his form this year as well. I think he looks happier. It looks like he's more content. So, yeah, it led to an exciting last sort of 10 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah, well, the next time Wigan had the ball, tackle 4, halfway line, Luke Yates hits Liam Farrell in the face, but not picked up on. So he's got a grade B charge as well. To be honest, if I were grading these, I'd have given Yates a caution for that, and I'd have given Smithies a grade A for the one on Latelli, but I think his grade C for the one on Greenwood's fair. But anyway, that's by the by. Yates didn't get penalised in what is the most fortunate not getting a penalty that we've ever experienced, David, because what happened on the very next tackle, Wigan went right on the last pay, got a bit down a blind alley. I've watched this so many times that I could almost tell you
same.
step for step what happened, but basically Luluai drops it off to Field to make something happen. Field looks around, passes it back to Luluai. Luluai throws a 20-metre right to left pass for Harry Smith, who caught the ball, scanned the field, straightened up to hold the defenders, then put his little grubber kick in the corner behind McGilvery for Marshall to chase, and finally, Liam Marshall was able to actually take one of those in at full stretch, put the ball down in the corner. The conversion was missed, but it was 16-14, 77 minutes on the clock. Wigan were ahead. How amazing was the noise?
The place blew up. The place absolutely erupted from the top to bottom of that south stand.
I didn't hear anything else for the rest of till way after the final whistle from that try being scored. It was so much noise.
Exactly. It was clapping, it was chanting, it was jeering when Huddersfield got the ball. Going back to the Farrell going down, I swear to God, Mark, that was the only time in that entire game that I doubted for a moment, because Farrell had gone down, and Farrell, I've heard some sort of Huddersfield, point saying that Farrell perhaps, was trying to milk it to get the 2 points. So, I don't think we'd have kicked it from there anyway, because it was pretty much on halfway.
We've learned that lesson before. That cost us a grand final 2 years ago, kicking from too far.
Exactly. And at that point, my doubts came in. I was like, shit, we're on fourth tackle, on halfway. Huddersfield have had another breather to reset the line and get the defence sorted. So we've got basically one tackle plus the last tackle to do something before we're going to have to... Well, we've got one tackle. We're going to have to kick the ball and hope for the best. And if nothing comes of that, we've got 3.5 minutes left. So we're going to get one set of 6, possibly from, starting off on our own 20 line.
Yeah.
Certainly, 40, 50 halfway if we're very lucky. And that was the one time in the game when I sat there and I thought to myself, yeah, this might not be happening, But as you said, Farrell played the ball. We took it up one more time, and then, Field, Bateman.
I was the opposite of you. I was like, right, we're going to get the ball twice still.
I didn't think we were going to get it twice at that point. I thought we're going to have one set, and we've got to make something happen from deep. And I was like, do you know what? This might not be happening. But yeah, a year of little faith. I mean, Luluai's pass was very, Sean O'Loughlin, Saints, Good Friday, was it 2014, when he spun the pass out to Sargentson and he went in at the corner, and one of the best away days we've had, in the summer era.
God, yeah.
It was the perfect pass to miss out the player, to get the ball to Harry Smith, to allow him to have that couple of seconds to, like you said, to scan the field and check what was on. And the one thing that I've seen this season that we've perhaps not had in the last couple of years is that confidence to actually, do you know what, we're going to try this again. As you said, Smith had tried it in the first half, Custard tried it in the first half. We're going to try this little kick through. And we
playing
talked
what
about
they
the
see,
goal.
reacting to the field in front of them, rather than playing the plays they've trained on. They're not trained to execute plays anymore. They're trained to play rugby.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many people in the back room that have got to give credit to that to give the players the confidence that they will, that they're encouraged to play that and to play that way. And we've spoken about the golden edge in the past, the left edge, when it used to be, George Williams, Liam Farrell, Oliver Gildart, and Joe Burgess, and that almost telepathic likeness between Williams and Joe Burgess. And that felt like that with Harry Smith and Liam Marshall, because Harry Smith saw it, as you said, he straightened up, saw the gap, and Marshall, I don't think even Marshall looked. He just knew that ball was going to go into that perfect position. It sat up perfectly for him. Got a St. Helens bounce for once in our lives, and just jumped up, and the place just erupted. I've heard that from neutrals. Even the BBC said it on the social media tweets. Like, this place has just blown up here, because it was just electric, and you knew, even though Huddersfield were going to, try the short restart, which they did, or and get French, wasn't it? It wasn't a great kick-off, and even though you knew they were going to get another set of 6, at that point, because Huddersfield had played the percentages all game, they stuck rigidly to the game plan all game, as opposed to playing what was in front of them. I didn't feel threatened at all. Even when they span it out wide and they kind of looked like they were going to get a break, and they got an offload, and Brad O'Neill came round the back and made the tackle. Even at that point, you just sensed that
it felt like Wigan were quicker to react to their offloads than they were in that last set. It just felt like it was destined.
They didn't even get over halfway, did they? They didn't even get over halfway.
They put in that big kick, ended up William Marshall.
Yeah.
Fittingly. Alan, what was your take on that last sort of 4 minutes or so then of noise from a neutral perspective?
Just 2 points. I was surprised they didn't check it for onside. I haven't watched it.
He was onside.
That's fine. I'm sure he was onside, but I'm still surprised that he didn't check it. With it being such a crucial thing.
But that's credit to James Chow for backing himself, I suppose. Even people are going to disagree with decisions throughout the game, and we've disagreed with some today whilst we've been recapping it. But we talked about Harry Smith having confidence and conviction in his actions. James Chow was confident, and I think he deserves to be. He's been the best referee this year. He might have made some mistakes, but which referee doesn't every single time they get on the field? But
no, of course,
he backed himself, Alan. That's what we want them to do.
No, well, I want him to get it right. And obviously, if he was onside, it wouldn't have been a problem then, would it? But yeah, that surprised me with it being such a crucial thing. That's that thing. The second thing was, and this is a bit of a complaint, something that can definitely get in the bin. When did start chucking drinks become a fucking thing?
Oh, I know. Yeah, you're right.
Because I got blooming covered in it, and I was flipping miles away from your lot. So I'm like, that is, I can't stand that. That's absolute bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
Worse than that, I saw people throw in just empty drinks. If you've got a drink in your hand and you jump up and it just goes, I think that's the moment, isn't it? But people were throwing empty fucking plastic cups. Yeah, that was the one negative of what was an awesome noise.
Yeah, no, and get carried away. But I don't think now. I think it's not I got overexcited and I had a pint in my hand. I think it's a deliberate thing now.
People have looked for the pint glass to throw it.
Yeah, it's become a deliberate thing, and that's, for me, that needs cutting out. Saying that we need to cut out bloody flares being let off at grounds. We need to sort that out as well. But in terms of the try, fantastic try. I'm not having a go at the try at all. But there's just the two things. I was surprised it wasn't checked, just from a security and safety point of view. And second thing is, just don't chuck drinks because you look like a fucking idiot.
So, David, we were celebrating, we were happy, we were on our way back up north with the 20th in the bag, and on Sunday the club put on a bit of a show at the stadium, didn't they? In the car park, they put up a inflatable stage. The team arrived 2.5 hours late, but you can't really blame them. So, what was that like? The victory celebration on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. Just going back to Alan's point about the beer throwing as well, I think that's more. I don't think that's necessarily just a rugby league thing. I think that's a society thing. I got to I go to a load of gigs, particularly up and coming bands as well, and it's more and more prevalent at gigs. And